One of the most successful TED Talks ever was Simon Sinek's Start With Why. He went on to write a book by the same name that became a bestseller. A very powerful notion, a very powerful concept that we certainly subscribe to. But perhaps it doesn't go quite far enough, because starting with why is great, but how do you then translate that into the what and the how? How do you align the organization with it? When we wrote our book, Bold, How to Be Brave in Business and Win, in 2012, a lot of people said they were inspired by the stories of the brands that we wrote about and wanted to do the same thing for their own organizations. But how do they do it? So this book is really a lot more about the how. How do you create a purposeful organization? How do you go about creating an organization that sustains success because of that sense of purpose? The second meaning of the title On Purpose is about intentionality. So on purpose is obviously about having a purpose, but on purpose also implies we're doing something intentionally. And if you think about what's happened in the marketplace, so many organizations now are seeking to differentiate through the customer experience. That's become a huge thing for organizations. Yet so often, so much of the experience we provide for our customers is unintentional. It may be left to our people, having great people. It may be left to the circumstances, but it isn't designed, it isn't intentional. We believe that in order for organizations to be successful, they have to be much more intentional about the experience they deliver to their customers. And that's particularly true in this multi-channel world that we live in, where customers can buy anything, anytime, anyhow, anywhere, across social media, across mobile, across physical. The experience that you provide has to be intentional, it has to be designed, otherwise it becomes inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of branding. In designing a customer experience, one of the most crucial questions you have to ask is, where do we want to over-index? Where do we want to be memorable? Where do we want to be distinctive? We often liken it to an ECG graph, a heart line, if you will. A flat line is bad, means you're dead. And that's true in customers and organizations too. That if on a rating scale of satisfaction, if you are flat at the bottom, then clearly you're underperforming the market and you're not likely to exist very long. If you're flat in the center of satisfaction, it means you're mediocre and probably undifferentiated. And if you're flat at the top, what's wrong with that? It must be a good thing if you are getting 5 out of 5 at every single touch point. Well, no, it's not. Unless you are a premium brand, unless you are able to charge a great deal of money for the products or services that you offer, you just can't afford to be perfect everywhere. You can't afford to delight the customers at every single touch point. You have to be decisive and make the choice about where to over-index or where to invest in order to create that sense of differentiation. So intentionality, being on purpose, is also about saying, where do we want to be famous? Where do we want to be memorable for our customers? And where do we need to invest our resources in order to achieve that?